If you're from the Oakland, Emeryville, or Berkeley area, you're familiar with the popular Bay Street Shopping Center, which houses high-end stores such as Victoria's Secret, Aldo's Shoes, Banana Republic, and AMC Theater. This shopping center was once a home to the largest sacred burial ground for the ohlone peoples, and I quote, "The ohlone tribes inhabited fixed village locations, moving temporarily to gather seasonal food like acorns and berries. A rough husbandry of the land was practiced, mainly by annually setting fires to burn off the old growth in order to get a better yield of the seeds. The staple diet consisted of crushed acorns, nuts, grass seeds, and berries, although other vegetation, hunted and trapped game, fish and seafood, including mussels and abalone from the San Francisco Bay and Pacific Ocean, were also important to their diet. These food sources were abundant and maintained by careful work and spiritual respect, and through some active management of all the natural resources at hand. They lived from the northern tip of the San Francisco Peninsula down to the Big Sur in the south, and from the Pacific Ocean in the west to the Diablo Range in the east. Prior to Spanish contact, the ohlone formed a complex association of approximately 50 different nations or tribes, with an average of 200 members per tribe. Over 50 distinct ohlone tribes and villages have been recorded. The ohlone villages interacted through trade, intermarriage, and ceremonial events, as well as some conflict. Cultural arts included basket weaving skills, seasonal ceremonial dancing events, female tattoos, ear and nose piercings, and other ornamentation.
So that's in the past. What's the problem with building anew? People have to move on, you know?
What do you mean, what's the problem? Would you like somebody to bulldoze your grandmother's tomb and act like it wasn't a big deal just because it happened so long ago?
Well,
You see, people are so desensitized about brown and black people's history being erased. The natives were just that, native to these lands, the original people who found how to reap goodness from these lands. Had that been a burial ground where the proclaimed white founding fathers of this nation were buried, you'd be labeled insane to propose this city of Emeryville build a mall over this culturally relevant landscape with reasons like these shell mounds or burial grounds have already been tampered due to toxic waste dumping, and it will be a place to gather and shop, much like the Native Americans once gathered.
so if it was so culturally relevant, how they get away with that?
Representation, which goes a little like this. The developers interested in building the shopping center over the Ohlone people's ancestors hired their own archaeologists to excavate the site, and their privately interested archaeologists concluded that, and I quote, "We did find a lot of intact burials. It's too inflammatory to say how many there were, but most burials were disturbed."
Disturbed?
Yeah, as if to say when they, or Americans for that matter, bury their dead, it is to ensure that their actual bones are physically unaffected, as if there's no mental or emotional aspect to visiting a tomb.
And how can they decide that? They're not even part of the Ohlone tribe.
Yeah, well, even NAGPRA, the Native American Grave Repatriation Act, can't help us with this one.
Huh?
Yeah, it's a law that was created November 16th, 1990, that requires all agencies and institutions that receive federal funding from the government to return cultural items and human remains to their respective tribes. But this was a privately funded project, which means they don't have to follow NAGPRA. Archaeologists all throughout the 1900s had already discovered this area as a hotbed of cultural histories, but that field is usually academically spurred, as in the public sphere. It was only a matter of time before the private sector exploited the federal funding stipulation, since the site still had no city-backed memorialization, where California even cited this site as a toxic waste dump, actually.
No one was concerned with hazardous fumes and toxins, I see.
All about the money. Messed up, right?
So is the point that I can't shop at Victoria's Secret anymore?
Everyone chooses to show their solidarity differently, and you can participate in the ohlone people's efforts for self-determination and revitalization by marching in support of the ohlone people at the Shell Mound Peace Walk in Emeryville. And in terms of resisting all oppressive structures that bulldoze over any history, we can always be conscious of the options to use our money politically by backing products and services with philosophies we believe in, as freely as we can under socioeconomic disparities.
Right on.
Right on.
Yeah, man. Jah will be waiting there, we a shout. Jah will